How's it going, everyone? It's Vishnu from the Six Rings Kane Show here on 5 Reasons Sports, and in honor of Florida State Week and us being 5 Reasons Sports, I figured I would recap my top 5 Florida State Miami games. Now, one big rule in place here is that I had to be in the stadium for the game or it does not count, so that does limit it a bit, but let's go going, kicking it off with number 5. Alright, so number 5 is probably a surprise for all of you watching at home, but this is going to be a Canes loss. This is 1996 Florida State Miami. Florida State ended up winning comfortably 34-16, en route to finishing runner-up to Florida in the national championship game. Not a great year for us Miami fans, but why'd I pick this one? This is my first Florida State Miami game I saw in person, so it was in the Orange Bowl. My family had moved from Texas. This was the first time I experienced it in person. And the Seminoles jumped out to a big lead. Miami made a huge comeback. Seminoles ended up pulling away to win. But that comeback was the first time I really experienced Orange Bowl magic, including a work-done fumble where it felt like the stadium was going to collapse. And for me, my first time being in that environment, that's a game I'll always remember because, as we all know, the Orange Bowl is, or was, I should say, sadly, a magical place. And, that was my first time experiencing it. So definitely that one is going to make the list even in a loss. All right, number 4. Now that we've gotten a loss out of the way, the rest of these are going to be wins. Don't worry. And number 4 is 2004. Not exactly a classic game, but a classic finish with the Sonoris Moss bubble screen. He runs it in the end zone, tie the game at 10. Canes win in overtime. It was thrilling. It was tense. It was not a lot of scoring. But it was the 6th time in a row that our Hurricanes beat the Seminoles. It was a nail biter, and it was at the end after that game was over. It felt like we would never lose to them again. Obviously, that's not the case, and not what transpired after that. But in that moment, it just felt like there was a mythical hold we had on the series, and still remember, when Sonoris took that bubble screen and ran into the end zone. Again, Orange Bowl magic, felt like the place was going to explode. And then Frank Gore scoring the winning touchdown overtime. So that is number 4. All right, number 3. This is a road game. 2003, Florida State, Miami. Miami was by far the best program in college football at this time. And Florida State was favored. And so going in, chip on your shoulder, going into Tallahassee. But really, what ended up transpiring and what this will always be remembered as the Sean Taylor game. He single-handedly ended Florida State that day. Interception, scored a touchdown, blocked a punt, was all over the field. Just one of the all-time great performances. And, obviously we know what happened after that. So in retrospect, it almost heightens it. And he's obviously a legend, beloved down here. And this game is, I feel like, his legacy game. And it was, seeing him do that. The weather conditions weren't good, and just watching him perform like that, it was a superhuman performance that I think will live in the hearts and minds of Hurricanes fans forever. And he basically ended Florida State that day, and kind of re-cemented Miami in that pecking order as, this is the program. And it was all on Sean Taylor's back. Okay, number 2. All right, so this is where it starts to get tough to pick which games to pick again. I had to be in the stadium for it to count. This one's going to be the 2002 game, The Wide Left. For some context, Florida State already lost a game that year. At this point, Miami had won the championship the previous year. Again, was the undoubted number 1 team in the country. This was not supposed to be a tough game. It sure turned out to be. Florida State ran the ball all over us that day. Was up by 13 points in the 4th quarter. Furious rally, took the lead 28-27, and then really just this amazing end sequence the last, I would say, 45 seconds where Florida State was trying to drive into field goal range. Looked like we had Chris Rick sacked. He just threw up a crazy pass that wasn't really necessarily even aimed at anyone, and they somehow caught it into field goal range. And then just mismanaged the clock so bad they barely got the ball spiked almost ran out of time, then got the field goal unit out there, and of course missed the field goal. And that might have been the loudest actually I've heard the Orange Bowl. My ears were throbbing. They'd run out of water that day. It was a noon kick. Just a crazy game. Another win. Wide left is that what everyone remembers, but the whole game was just it was very physical, very competitive. The Orange Bowl was figuratively and literally on fire with the heat, and it was another one of those just classic Miami FSU games, and makes number 2 on my list. All right, so we're down to the big one, and this is the part where I cheated because it's not one. I'm giving you 2 games as my number 1. So, yep. So you're actually getting the top 6, but these are both co-number 1s. So for me, what does Miami FSU mean to me, or what does Miami football in general mean to me? And to me, it's always about, the Gators have their nation, and for the University of Miami, we have our family. And for me, the University of Miami and the football program is synonymous with my family. So I picked 2 games in which I have 2 siblings. I was in the stadium with one for each of these, and the first one is 2000, the wide right 3. This was a game where Florida State, we talked earlier about the Miami was the king of the hill. This was the turnover of that from Florida State. This is the torch being passed from Florida State to Miami. The Canes jumped out to a 17-0 lead, at one point 20-3 lead. Florida State came back, but still in control of the game. A late fumble got Florida State the ball back. They threw a touchdown the next play. Everyone remembers Dorsey leading the drive down, and then, they missed the field goal, come back, win the game. But what I really remember is Dorsey throws the winning touchdown. My brother is standing right next to me. We embrace, and I just remember him telling me, man, Dorsey's a legend now. Dorsey's a legend now. He just kept repeating it, and that stuck in my mind to this day. It's one of those, it's about Miami, it's about family, it's about everything just all into one, beating Florida State. That game is always going to be special for me. And in a similar context, the other one I'm going, 2017, the Malik Rozier touchdown pass to Darrell Langham on basically the last play of the game. In this case, I was with my brother-in-law, my sister, and one of our close friends. We went to Tallahassee. We expected to win. We had not beaten them in years at this point, and took the lead. They scored that touchdown with a minute and a half left. The stadium's on fire. It's like, I cannot believe we're losing to them again. And then to see Malik lead the team down, and I told Malik himself this, so I did own it, but I was screaming, kick the field goal as that man was winning the game for us, threw the winning touchdown. And I screamed like I haven't since, I was in grade school, jumping up and down, holding my sister, and it's one of those moments that you'll never forget. So those are my co-number 1s, because it's with me, with my family members, and celebrating the Miami win. That's really what Miami football's about. That's what the Miami-Florida State rivalry's about. So, those are my top 5. What are your top 5? Drop them down into the comments. Like and subscribe to this channel. Yell at me for that 1996 game. I know it's no one's favorite game, so I'll take it on the chin for that, but I had to do my first major Orange Bowl experience. I think we all remember our first time, right? So, don't forget also to tune in Mondays, 8:30 with myself, Jazz Santana, Larry Bluestein, Dan Gillette. We'll get you covered all the news for whatever happened in the Florida State game. But let's go Canes. Let's beat those Seminoles.